The Body in the Birches by Katherine Hall Page. Narrated by Tanya Eby. To Danielle Bartlett Emmerich, friend and HarperCollins publicist, in honor of our 11+ years together. And to the people of Deer Isle and Stonington, Maine, those whose roots have been embedded in the granite for hundreds of years, and those who arrived later, including the ones from away. After a good dinner, one can forgive anybody, even one's own relations. Oscar Wilde. Chapter 1. Sophie Maxwell had not remembered it taking quite so long to reach the island. Darkness had fallen hours earlier, and now it was a dark-only, lonely roads in Maine produced. The journey had started many hours ago, after an uncharacteristically panicked phone call from her mother, who was somewhere on a yacht in the Aegean with her fourth, husband. Sophie had taken a train to Connecticut from Manhattan, and a cab from the station to the house to pick up a car for the drive. She hadn't been home for over a year, but she knew the keys would be in the same drawer as always. Mother changed mates, but never her beloved 1892 Victorian that sat high up on a peninsula jutting out into Long Island Sound. The shingle and stone house had been a wedding gift from her parents 30 years ago, when Babs had married her college beau, Sandy Maxwell. Less than 2 years later, she'd found a receipt for a diamond-studded Piaget watch, with instructions for engraving in the pocket of one of her husband's suits that she was taking to the cleaners. The initials weren't Babs's. They were his secretary's. She was dumping him for adultery, she told her friends, but even more for a complete lack of originality. Tacky is as tacky does. There was no question about keeping the house. Over the course of his successors, Babs had added on and continued to restore the place until it became her own best jewel, one worth a cool $10 million now. There was also no question about keeping their daughter, Sophie. Babs demanded and got full custody. Despite her penchant for serial nuptials, no one could ever say Babs was not a good mother. Early on, she'd decided Sophie was going to be her one and only child, directing her efforts toward her daughter's appearance, manners, and even intellect. You need to be smart, but you don't need to flaunt it. In much the same way she scoured the Connecticut countryside and auctions for the right salvaged chestnut to match the original flooring, the right dining room table and other furniture for the twin parlors with their 10-foot ceilings, and the right mantels for the 6 original fireplaces. Thoughts of her mother had crowded Sophie's mind as soon as she'd unlocked the front door, bright red with a lion's head brass door knocker. It was impossible not to think of Babs when every inch of the house reflected her perfect taste and something more, something antique dealers referred to as an eye. You couldn't learn it. You had to be born with it. So far, Babs's only lapse in visceral judgment had been Sanford Maxwell, but she'd told Sophie that was why she never drank gin. TMI, Sophie, 16 at the time, had told her. It did still bring a smile to her face, though, especially as her mother had always made sure that Sophie understood she was well worth the slip. Babs wasn't demonstrative. She was a New Englander, after all, but she loved her daughter. And she loved her house. It had 6 bedrooms, 6 full baths, 2 halves, assorted other rooms including a conservatory, and of course a state-of-the-art kitchen that Babs had remodeled every 4 years. Sophie loved the house, too, but her room in the turret at the front of the home was her favorite, and she headed straight for it. Although it was not as large as the other bedrooms, she preferred her own private tower room, resisting her mother's attempts to get her to move as she got older. Babs had had a curved window seat installed under the windows that looked straight out to the water. Built-in bookcases that curved as well still held Sophie's books, charting her progress from girlhood through adolescence, Anne of Green Gables to the bell jar.
Sample complete. Ready to continue?